Man, you come straight out of a comic.
I made a post probably like a couple of weeks back talking about like I can pinpoint every moment that like elevated something with me to a black woman. Like it was crazy. Like even like I was telling y'all earlier, like I'm gonna be at DreamCon. So I'm thinking like, oh, you know, my work, you know what I'm saying, really grabbed it and everything like that. Come to find out there was a black lady part of this collective called Urban Anime Lounge who was lobbying and vouching for us. And she told me about it. I said, see, it's always black women. It's always black women that help you out.
Every opportunity I've ever had came from a black woman. One major came from a Latin woman who is still a black woman. So it's like, you know.
Yes, indeed.
It all comes back.
Shout out to all the black women out there. And of course, you know, we're going to be talking about one of our queens in this episode. Of course, that's new here on Straight Out of a Comic Book. I'm your host, Will Pharaoh. And of course, I got the fellas with me, Mighty Deuce, CT Breaker, Dion Black. I wish he had his name up there again, but I understand why. You know, people sensitive. We can't have, we just can't write up here. But if you were here right now, stop for a second. If you have not seen Thor: Love and Thunder yet, you should exit. You can go watch some of our previous episodes. Go watch Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness and how we talk it. Go listen to the Black Panther recasting that we came up with. But if you have not seen it, you should not watch beyond this point. Anything else you watch beyond this point is on you. And I don't want to hear shit in them comments about, man, they gave away the whole story. We warned you. Okay? So with that being said, we're talking about Thor: Love and Thunder, man. It has finally dropped. It is one of the biggest movies of the summer. I don't know how, but it is one of the biggest movies of the summer, already grossing $300 million worldwide. People are flooding in to see this movie. And so I just want to know from y'all, we're going to jump right into it. I want to get y'all first reactions of the movie without giving too much detail in it. So
first reaction. Go ahead. Who you starting with?
I'm gonna start with you, CT. You look like you ready.
Let me tell you something. First reaction to leaving the theater. Dion Lack was with me. I'm doing all arms. Jesus Christ, this nigga's arms were huge, bro. I'm like, God damn. I couldn't even focus on the first 10 minutes of the movie because his arms were so defined. And I'm like, fam, what am I doing? This nigga's arms are crazy. And then, bro, we're gonna get into all the details and stuff, man. But the greatest runner of the movie was Stormbreaker and Mjolnir.
Yes.
Buddy.
The creep in.
Done.
That had me in tears.
Yeah. He could not stop laughing, yo.
Bro.
Oh, man, he was done.
Dog, when that shit came in, I laughed so hard, bro. Like, I was laughing way after the fact. And I think Taika Waititi knew how funny that was because the dialogue after that bit was not important, so you can still be laughing.
At all. Dion, what about you? First impression.
First reaction. I pray that this film ties in something. It let me down so much. That's it. That's my first reaction. I was like, after Endgame, including Disney Plus, we had 7 projects that came out. Mm-hmm. None of these projects connect. And I'm nervous for Marvel. That's all I got to say.
My first reaction is I think there's an influencer on social media by the name of like Black Nerd, and he was giving a review on the movie, and I think he described it best. And it was like watching a Saturday morning cartoon show live action.
Yeah, that was my same. When I watched it and as I consumed it all, I said, you know what? This was enjoyable for what it was. Like, and I'll get into more about what I mean by that. But like, I just like the themes within this movie. I thought that it was something different that we didn't see, and I got a reason why that we'll talk about.
Okay. It was definitely Ragnarok 2. Like, if you hadn't seen Ragnarok, you would look at this movie and be like, what the fuck? But if you saw Ragnarok, you're like, okay, this is a great continuation. It was overall something to watch. It was fun. Yeah. There were no stakes. it was extremely heavy on the cancer side. That
Man,
I know that's her story, but that, you know, people we've all dealt with something in that form or another, and that was very heavy. But other than that, it was something to watch.
I think that's the general consensus about it. Like, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't like putting it up there. We're going to jump into that in a little bit. So let's go ahead and really just jump into the movie. So just a quick little synopsis of it. We find Thor after Endgame, after the Infinity Wars are over. He's left Earth. He's trying to go find himself within the cosmos and stuff. And in doing so, he stumbles onto the fact that there is this guy who is now slaying gods by the name of Gore the God Butcher, played by Christian Bale. And so it's up to him to try to partner up with Valkyrie, the king of the Asgardians now on Earth, to try to find out exactly what's going on. And in doing so, he runs across the X, who now has his hammer back together in pieces, doing different shit with it, and is now being called the Mighty Thor. So the Mighty Thor, Valkyrie, and Thor go on this amazing, beautiful adventure. We get in touch with all the different guys that are in this MCU to try to stop Gore from killing all the gods off. But this is where I gotta start it off. How you Gore the God Butcher and you ain't butchering?
Yo, so let me add to that. There was 3 deleted scenes. They said, what's his name? Christian Bale said he actually killed, what's the dwarf, the tall giant dwarf?
Oh yeah, the one that made the Infinity Gauntlet.
Yeah,
Tyrion. I don't know.
Yeah.
He was always Tyrion.
He had a scene with him. He had a scene with
Jeff Goldblum.
Jeff Goldblum. So they said he had a bunch of scenes with him. I don't know why they cut it out, and I don't know. They thought it was, I don't know, they want to save him for another movie or something like that to actually see it, or flashback, or save it for Guardians or something. But it was like I need to see. I feel like his stakes was like too quick. Like, fight your problems, like it was like now I'm possessed. Like, how you go from this loving father to, okay, now I get you got burnt by this god.
And that was a great scene because that guy pissed me off.
And that's the thing. Like, when they did like the flashes through it, when like they was looking for the worlds, like that's when they was trying to show like the gods being butchered. But I'm like, fam, we deserve more. It wasn't enough. Like, we needed to see the butchering. We needed to see that each time that he killed a god, he became more and more influenced by the sword.
Powerful.
Yeah.
You know, remember on What If when Ultron when he was going through all these worlds and killing people, we actually saw him
his advancement.
Even with Strange, with when he was consuming all the monsters that he kept on summoning up, and you saw
that transformation come, from the cloak,
even if it's like a quick 2-second.
And then the thing was, I didn't like that there were no like how you just said, CT, there were no real stakes. Like there was no, like, nothing was really lost. And I think that was probably trying to hold back from the fact that Thor has already lost so much, and so it's like, how much more do you have to go through? And then, like you said too, really focusing on the cancer thing. I think that took away from the stakes of Gore, because it's like, yo, we didn't see Thor lose anybody. We didn't see anyone important in the MCU be lost to where this guy is a threat. And so it's just like, when you see, like, you know, bringing in like Zeus and stuff, Zeus, like, at first you think Zeus is an asshole, but it's kind of like, yo, the way y'all set this movie up, Zeus kind of telling the truth. Like, we ain't worried about this dude because he ain't really killing nobody.
And go ahead.
I was just gonna say, where they missed the part was that I forgot the name of that big god that they stood in front of, but in the comics, like, that was Thor's homie, and like they didn't really even latch onto that relationship. Like,
the big creature, we found Sif with her arm cut off and stuff.
But she also didn't die. But that's the one. That's the scene where they were in front of him. But it's like, they didn't show that relationship. They also didn't. They didn't give us. Let me address this. When it comes to Jane, I love Natalie Portman. She's amazing. She's gorgeous. All these things. Incredible actress. But the Thor, I don't like CGI muscles, bro. So it was like I thought she really got yoked up for this role,
Yeah.
and then it showed that she did not.
So can we talk about that though? Because I just gotta say, you know, hey, take this how you want to, but Marvel, y'all CG been slipping lately.
You're slipping.
Hey, I thought it was me.
You're
Like
slipping.
when I was watching Doctor Strange and like when they was fighting the tentacle monster and Wong fell and he did his loop and he went through and fell on the street and hit the car, I was like, he looks very 3D when he hit there. Like what's going on? Like even like in Thor, like Jane's lighting seemed off. Even like when she was like, how does it you have a daytime face and the scene is night?
So to piggyback off that and to explain, they're in the transition of making their jobs easier because there's so much CGI in movies. And it's like, you know, like back in the day when they actually had to draw cartoons.
Yeah.
So they're doing this little phase. They're in betweens. I know they're working out the rendering of it, but I know exactly what you're talking about. But I was watching this cartoon that's talking about the transition is really hard, and it's like I know y'all don't really care, but it's like it's easy for them to quickly do CGI versus a 3-day rendering versus a day. So
I hear you, but it's not. It's like watching, and I hear you with transition too. It's like and I've said this before. I don't know if I said this on the podcast, but every 10 years, animation changes, right? CGI changes. So if you look at when we were kids, looking at a Chip and Dale's compared to looking at Pokemon, right?
Yeah.
Looking at movies or looking at even TV shows like remember Reboot and remember Beast Wars, and then moving forward to seeing different versions of those shows in the 2000s. So I understand that there's a transition. Even when you look at The Matrix, at one point, Matrix 1 CGI was brand new and it was cutting edge. Now, if you go back, you're like, oh my God, what is this? It's like Crouch Tiger, Hidden Dragon. But if we're going through the transitional phase, it should never be blatantly obvious. So what we are seeing in the Marvel movies now, there was a scene in Thor: Love and Thunder. I was like, ooh, that's a lot of CGI.
Yeah. Not even
that's
CGI.
Almost DC-ish.
Bro, Hemdall's son.
Yeah.
I was like, fam, did they go to Fiverr for that? Like they could have got who did they get to do that scene? Because that was horrible. I'm like, also, we've seen portals, we've seen so many floating heads, and this looked like it was Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. This was Zordon. It looked like Zordon. Like it looked so bad.
That was bad.
Pissed at that.
Also, my other question. When was Heimdall getting ass?
Exactly.
When did this happen?
I was like, what?
Wasn't there a whole blip too? Like when
Great point. Then I'm gonna give you that, and I'm gonna raise you this. At what point do we get to be introduced to this child, and then you change his name in the exact same scene? Hey, Astrid, my name's Axel. Hey, man, nigga, we just met you. We don't even know what your name is. Yeah, it's Axel now. We're like, fam, we just met you. I don't even know you as either.
I was like, Marvel, what I don't appreciate is that y'all, even in y'all stuff, you making black fathers absent. I don't know.
Man, where's the mother?
You got, and I was like, why is he British? Where are y'all?
Yo, if you were born on Earth.
That's funny.
How did you pick this?
How you got this Asgardian accent?
Right.
But
speaking of, since we're talking about Asgard and being on Earth, I think that's a good way to shift to, which is I think something also that it was a gamble that I see why it wasn't put in, but I feel like it was deprived from us. And I think that's Valkyrie's story and the Asgard, like what Asgard is now. The fact that it's a tourist attraction, it's like I think there's a lot of stuff that we miss right there that's really going on, because like even like you can see her throughout the movie. This is a warrior put into politics. Like you're taking a chick that wields a blade and putting her in a suit. So it's like, I wanted to kind of see like some kind of conflict there, or like at least one of her like royal people that kind of got like a disdain towards how she running things.
Yeah, they didn't give us that.
Yeah, they didn't give us that. So that's why even too for myself, if anybody from Marvel Disney is watching, Valkyrie needs her own Disney series.
Yeah, Disney.
I'm more upset, like I said, what you guys said with Valkyrie, with the fact that like she's a warrior who she desires to die in the battlefield, but you stuck her into this suit. So that like her dealing with that, I'm more upset that we didn't get more into that than them, you know, like I said, with her, because I don't want to see a romance with Valkyrie. I want to see this warrior having to be in this, you know, in this suit, but really wants to be in the battlefield. Like that's.
But also seeing that, I wanted to see Valkyrie, just like Will said, I wanted to see somebody rival her, like challenge her within her own kingdom. Because it's like, yo, what are you doing? We need to be out there doing this. And she's like, oh, but I have to do this. It seems like she fought her own battle within herself as the movie went on, like unprovoked. And that was something that was just like, okay, I guess we're running out of time.
And it was a lot of stuff like they lingered over, like, you know, like the fact of she's an alcoholic. Like they really moved on, like, yo, she's an alcoholic because she has PTSD. Like she's been through a lot, but y'all don't really let her see that. And so it was just like, even for myself, I would have preferred more her and less Korg. Like, don't get me wrong, I love him. Like, I think he's wonderful as a B character, but I would have preferred to see a lot more of her than what they did give us. And even too, like as you said, like with the Jane Foster story. Now we're gonna go ahead and get into that. I enjoyed how they portrayed the mighty Thor, but I ain't gonna lie, that was very heavy.
It was heavy, man.
It was really heavy on this whole Jane thing, and I was just kind of like, if that's what the focus was, why bring in Gore? Because Gore is a new character in the comic books.
Yeah.
Like this could have been a bad. And then too, it was like what I really tripped about was everyone knew everything too quickly.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like how, like you knew where to go where all the gods are hanging out. Gore already knows I need Stormbreaker in order to go get to eternity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How would he know that?
Yeah. Like, because they didn't show him killing gods and nobody telling him what he would need to get there. He wasn't getting information as he killed people. He was just killing them that we never saw.
And then too, like, how is this a lure and Stormbreaker isn't made yet? Like Stormbreaker was only recently made. So how is this a lure in them comics of how to open that Bifrost with Stormbreaker, and Stormbreaker was just made?
If anything, it should have been Mjolnir, which would have been related to Jane, which would have given more storyline of Thor feeling like, damn, am I not important anymore because this new Thor is replacing me, but it's also my ex-girlfriend. And now I figure out she's dying of cancer, as opposed to the way that they did it. And I'm like, man, it was just too easy.
Quick. It was too quick.
It was too quick.
I think a better story is the fact that I think we should rely on Thor losing so many people in his life.
Yeah.
And he's like, I need therapy. I need help. I need to recover. And everybody, and then the Guardians of the Galaxy, like, we got to get you back in battle, man. He's like, no, man, I can't afford to lose nobody. And then Gore start killing people. They're like, yo, he's killing people. We should see the killing. And then that's how you get them back.
Yeah.
So this is why I think they didn't. And this is why what I was saying when I first said, like, I was interested in like the new themes, right? So it kind of goes in a little bit what Will said, how like the new Asgard was a tourist attraction. So I feel like this was like similar to kind of like Miss Marvel. This was really geared towards the kids and like a family friendly movie. And so that's why I think we didn't get so much of the killing, and why we didn't get heavy into that, because the heaviness was the cancer, right? That was the heavy one. And I feel like if they would have added more, then it would have been a darker movie. And I feel like with the themes that they went with, this was like truly like a rom-com. Like this was like a love romance style.
It was definitely a rom-com.
Yeah. And so because of that, it was like, okay, we can't go too OD on the heaviness. The cancer is going to be the heaviness, because like one, they also broke the cardinal rule. They killed a kid. The kid, they killed a kid at the beginning, and usually kids don't die in movies. So it's like, okay, so now this is a little bit different. But then what we saw, in the height of it, they empowered kids. Like we saw a bunch of kids get powers and be on the battlefield, go crazy, right? Yeah. It was like I feel like with this was a different theme from Marvel. Though this was our superheroes, they really linked in on the rom-com. It was like, yo, this is just a rom-com and the characters happen to be superhero characters, and we're going to tie it in somehow.
Here's why I loved Ragnarok. Ragnarok came after Thor Dark World, which nobody remembers. And when you see Ragnarok, it hits you off the head with like, all right, cool, we got some dope ass action.
Yep.
We got some great moments, and then the comedy came out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere.
Like the first
Out of nowhere.
5 minutes of the movie, you like Thor's funny when he was twisted in the gate. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And then now looking at Love and Thunder, it had OD'd on the comedy.
Yes, they did. They
Like
were
there were
heavy.
so many funny moments, yes, but then there were so many moments where I was like, they're forcing it to where it was like, don't make this overly slapstick.
Yep.
You had an incredible balance before because you caught us off guard.
Yeah.
Now, yes, we're expecting a level of it, but don't give us too much to where it's like, okay, where is the action? And it's like you can't go to two drastic extremes with super heavy with the cancer, super slapstick on a comedy. It's like we have to find a way to be in the middle.
Same scene. It's like
And then the fact of like you didn't, because it's like most of the stuff was colorful, very playful. Like everything looked like that, except for the moments that where it could have had that, it didn't have that. But where it didn't need to have it, you had that. Like every time you saw Jane with cancer, it was just like, yo, you need to sit down. But it was like, I didn't get that with Gore when you see his scenes. Like I'm supposed to be, I don't think y'all gonna make it.
Because when they started showing the screenshots of Gore, I thought, this is what I going in thought. I thought that every time it was colorful, it was going to be extremely like slapstick comedy. But then anytime that the scene was going to be like really dark, it was going to be the black and white, right? I thought we was going to get a proper transition of that weaving it in throughout the movie. And I felt like they did, like you said, they didn't give us, like, even when it was black and white, it wasn't as heavy as I thought it was going to be with Gore. And I thought it should have. That's what I thought that we were going to get throughout the movie. And I feel like they didn't deliver on that.
I'm gonna be the one to say, what did this movie do for Marvel? Nothing. We didn't learn nothing. All we did, we didn't really lose Jane. Because obviously at the end, it didn't set up nothing. I mean,
no.
It set up the next Thor movie. That's all it did, because with Hercules and that's all it
wasn't.
Well, not even that, because that can be features. That can be features throughout movies.
True.
It didn't even have one of those like, oh, we got Tobey Maguire here. It was no big reveal. It was no like, oh, they've been hiding out for this.
So now that poses the question though: does Marvel have to do that in movies every time?
Amen.
Like
the last 5 times,
they do it every time. I get it. I'm just saying, like, if Marvel doesn't do that, does that automatically take them? Like, does that mess up what Marvel has been doing?
Well, here's something that Kevin Feige spoke on before, and as well as like the Russo brothers. Again, they said in these phases there won't be an Avengers type movie. Like these next couple of phases are going to be the ones where we just like, you're seeing all of these characters get introduced into this world and stuff like that. But again, too, we know like Marvel to like switch up, change things and stuff, like even have like, like our version of Mr. Fantastic and stuff like that. So, things may change, but as y'all have just said, it's like, it's a change because for the Thor franchise, this worked. This, if you think of, take out MCU and all of that, like let's just think if this was the Thor movies, this was a great sequel to Ragnarok. It was good to watch. It was enjoyable. I would not mind a Thor 5, but like how Dion's saying, at the point we're getting to in the MCU, are those gambles you should be taking on with characters like this. And like for Thor, I don't think it was a good look to push that and not have anything advance in the MCU when you gave us so much that could have. You did nothing with Guardians of the Galaxy. We still don't know what they're doing. It's just they're just here.
They were just there, man.
Yeah, but it's like, why? Like, why would you not give us so much that could have happened? Like, how long have they been together? Like, what adventures have they been on? Like how CT said, they may be saving it for Guardians 3, but it's like, that was a waste of 10 minutes. It was like, yo, even the planet you're on, I don't know what planet you're on. You introduced us to all these guys that we saw, and they didn't interact with anybody.
I thought it was tied again at the end. If the Guardians came in at the end, had a little nice little fight, I'm like, yo, hey, That'd been a nice little reveal or something.
Yeah, like something like it was just kind of just like it would, like I said, it was just a pass through. It was just kind of like, hey, we made a Thor movie. We just wanted to add to it, and we wanted to make sure that we did the mighty Thor.
The problem is Kevin Feige has written himself into a corner, and that corner being Avengers was the first movie that we'd ever seen live action that had ever shown that many heroes on screen after all having their own individual success, over $100 million movies together. Then you build up the Infinity Gauntlet saga, and you do all of these films to fit into that. That's why people start accepting movies that were in that, just to be like, all right, well, no matter how good or bad this is, it's going to be dope to see them in the Avengers. So by the time Captain Marvel came out, we were like, but whatever, she's going to be in the Avengers. Now that the Avengers movies, you're telling us we're not going to get any more for a very, very, very long time, and you're not giving us any connective tissue. Now these movies just seem trash because we have to judge them for what they are. So when we look at Doctor Strange 2, we like, this was great, but it was no multiverse of madness. Like there was multiverse, but there was no madness. You showed us a story between two Avengers that happened in a pocket that now the stakes happen for him higher because he's come out better, and people still don't know what Wanda has done because it happened in a pocket. Now you show us Eternals, which explains how a Galactus exists, but it's trash. So now we're judging on that. Now you show us Thor, Love and Thunder, and we're like, damn, we were missing this girl. Now she's full on dead, so she's gone. And it's like, so where do we go from here with Thor? Like, what could possibly be the next story? I'll tell you. Now he's he's a father now, which I'm never a fan of. It's like, bro,
I was like, yo, I was like, so y'all just gonna really go ahead and give us God of War on Marvel? That's what you did?
Because that's what I was wondering. Like, I'm not familiar with Love as a character as much as she, and so I'm like, does she play a big role in the Young Avengers? Like how, where does Love come? Because if what we've been hypothesizing is that like Young Avengers are coming, like is she going to be the Thor of the Young Avengers? Like, is that what they're doing?
Love is technically supposed to be an avatar for the celestial eternity. So basically, because like I may be saying the name Robert Infinity, they can't walk on our plane. So that is her link to Earth. Is that girl? And so that's what it's supposed to be.
So that's eternity.
19 years of Marvel was like a comedian set. Endgame was the final punchline. It was like ta-da. It was like, no, nigga, keep going. He's like, shirts off.
Put it back on. Do some more jokes.
I have my jazz fingers out. It's like, well,
let's take it back to the beginning. Eternals, right?
But
what's the deal with Eternals?
It's like, keep going, nigga. What else you got?
How's that multiverse going? It's a whole lot of madness, ain't it? Yeah, guys.
I wasn't prepared for this. Do another hour now.
Let's bring it back. Hey, y'all remember Black Widow? What's the deal with Black Widow?
That was horrible. And they haven't even shown her sister outside of the Disney Plus series after that. And if you're telling me Doctor Strange is the connective tissue, he's the new Iron Man, that he needs to be around more. But y'all kind of just answered the question on what's next. And we know Galactus is being built because you just said she's connected to Infinity and Young Avengers. So they drop seeds with that are connective tissue. But here's the better story. Now, I know you guys don't play Marvel's Avengers on PlayStation or Xbox, but the story of the DLC for Jane Foster being downloaded into the game was that Jane Foster, and this is why, because I don't watch trailers, I didn't know anything that happened in the movie until I saw the movie. In the video game, which is another version of the story in real life, they show Jane Foster is in she's in a different universe. So by Jane being in a different universe, her Thor lost his arm, right? He's in the hospital with a loved one. She's still a doctor. What ends up happening is she gets the power of Mjolnir, and she tries to fight. Odin took off Thor's arm and tried to kill him. So Thor's lost his powers. Jane is now in control of Mjolnir. She goes to Asgard and has to fight Odin because he's killed the All Mother. The All Mother was the one who was like the hero supreme, like Odin was in our universe. So now she can't kill Odin by herself. She has to enlist the help of Loki. So Loki is like, oh yeah, I'll help you kill him, but I need a favor in return. And she's like, yeah, sure, whatever you say, just help me kill Odin. They kill Odin. Now it's time for him to collect upon the promise that she made, and she doesn't want to do it. And right when she's about to do it, a portal opens up, sucks her into our reality, which shows her popping up directly in front of the Avengers and Thor. And Thor is like, Jane, and she's like, let me just tell you, I'm not your Jane. And then it goes from there. So that's what I thought the movie was going to be, but it was not. And I'm like, so imagine seeing that storyline, which we just saw Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Now this makes sense for us to accept somebody come from a different universe and their storyline, and then to see, no, my ex-girlfriend just has cancer, and this hammer that we thought would heal her is actually making it worse. It was ridiculous to me.
Yeah, and then too, like what really tripped me out about that was like, because if you'd have did like how you said, if that would have been the storyline, the movie could have still been the way it was. And then the secret is Jane and Valkyrie know that, but have decided to not tell anyone, including Thor. So it's like now she has to play this like it's kind of like, and even now too, the whole thing in the trailer, like, what has it been like 4 something years? And he's like 8 years, like that.
Like, oh yeah,
because it ain't her. And so I would have been like, yo, you see that at the end, it's like, well, no, I have to tell you something. It's like, I'm not your Jane.
Yes.
Like, what are you talking about? Like, have you ever heard about the multiverse?
Exactly.
I'd have been like,
hey, that would have connected. So that would have been fire.
Exactly.
That would have been fire.
Then if she dies, it's like, oh shit. Well, now I have to really go find the real Jane, and then you can show her at the end of the movie alive and well.
Because also you can get into like, I don't know if they're ever going to do like a villain super team, but like that's, you don't have to kill Gore at the end, because now Gore also learns about the multiverse or whatever the case may be, and then whatever's the imminent threat at some point, like I said, we're going to get to one of these big battles. What will be different from what we've seen? Instead of first facing one big bad and a faceless army, now you're facing a collective of these villains that we've been seeing multiple, around, or the case may be.
Let me tell you this, Deuces. Let me stop you right there.
You don't like that? All right,
I'm gonna tell you right now. With all due love and respect, I'm telling you this just because I want you to understand where I'm coming from. First of all, that's not a bad idea at all. More DC territory to do a super team of evil. However, Gore was trash as a villain, and it's not his fault. It was all on the cutting room floor, I'm sure. And the writers probably wrote something even better for us to see about him, but we did not. The problem with Gore was the first 5 minutes of the movie. Marvel has this bad habit of showing us why we should care about the villain before we see them do anything villainous. So you just destroyed your credibility with showing us how Gore became Gore at that point in the movie. Dion and I had this conversation at the movie. Why not save that scene for later in the film when they're fighting? Then it's like, man, what is your problem? Well, bam, I'll show you my problem.
You're right.
I think that's the like you said, the writing into the corner part of coming from Disney, because like you said, you'll have 2 scenarios now. We had a scenario we just gave where it's like, okay, I understand why this villain is doing this.
Now the
I don't want to understand.
No,
I want to know, oh, his family got killed and now he's crazy. But I don't want to see like, oh, like what it led to do this.
Got
like,
a point.
No. Yeah, it's just like, no, I want to know, okay, the dude lost his family and lost his mind, and he's just going ape shit.
I'm here to see Thor. This is my boy, and I'm on his side. So when you show me a villain, show me a villain. You don't show me the villain and I have compassion for him. That's no different than Thanos.
And to back up what you just said, where it worked perfectly like that, Killmonger, when he first got introduced, we was just like, dog, one, he's badass, but like he going crazy. And it wasn't until the 3rd act that we learned why he's crazy. And it worked perfectly.
And that's the thing. So you look at, great example with Killmonger. We looked at that and we were like, man, now I have sympathy for this dude. Now it makes sense that they just ended their their fight the way that they did, because they both still had strong morals and values, and they were going to fight for those. But with Thor and Gore, it's like, I don't even know why y'all are fighting, because they just show why he shouldn't have been mad after he killed that god. Like, it was justified to kill that god. What were your justifications after that? You didn't get stronger. You didn't absorb their powers and have their godly powers. That would make sense to me too. It's like, okay, I'm going to kill these gods to get enough power to open the gate to bring my daughter back. They made that drag on to the very end to him saying he's going to wish to kill all gods. No, he's going to wish to bring his daughter back. And if that's the case, I'm not even mad at this dude. Yeah, kill the gods that you have to get the power to open the gate.
Can
but
I tell you a cold gore scene though?
Please.
A cold gore scene in the movie when he was choking the shit out of the girls. He's like, "Call the axe."
Ooh,
that was hard.
Call the axe.
He was like, "Wait, Dion, why you make him have light skin eyes?"
He said,
That's what he did, because
I mean, he had the black shit in his eyes.
I know.
that was the best.
But
And all you had to do, the fact that he threw that axe far as hell, like
she came out of nowhere
nothing.
with it. Like she can't pick that shit up and launched it. She's like, hey.
Gone.
Hey, that was smart thinking though, because usually the heroes, they be late to the party. She got the information and was like, "Oh, fuck that!" Like she was on it ASAP
Immediately.
He looked up and said, he talked to me. Said,
But three things I will say about that. One thing I was not fucking with was I didn't like this Bluetooth worthiness that was going on in this whole movie. Like, I like my hammers with one person. Like, I ain't like that everybody's able to just pick this shit up. I'm just like, yo, I thought you had to
to pick it up.
Yeah, I thought you're supposed to be worthy to touch this stuff. Like, how is Thor even still messing with Mjolnir? Like, you're not worthy no more. It's not yours.
But that's the thing. So I'm glad you said that. When you see the axe situation, it's like, it was the way that Dion explained it to me in the theater, because I asked that same question. He's like, yo, Stormbreaker wasn't Mjolnir. Mjolnir was whispered by Odin. You have to be worthy to wield this. That's why Captain America, Jane, and Captain America, Jane, and Vision held the hammer, as well as Thor, compared to Stormbreaker, which never had the mark on it, so anybody could hold it.
Okay.
It's just heavy as shit.
Yeah,
right.
That's it. Yeah. And then the other thing too, I think, like how you going back to even what you were saying about with Gore, them playing in the beginning where they messed up, it also took away from Zeus. Because then it would have made Zeus being an a-hole a lot more understandable, because it's like, yo, us knowing that, like, we already know now gods are a-holes.
Man,
like, just by the one you showed us and him killing us. So it's like, yo, now we see why he coming for y'all. But had you had it to where Zeus was there,
two things I needed in this movie. And I talked to CT about this. I needed some sort of story with Thor and Storm. I mean, not Groot and Stormbreaker, as in like, hey, you doing good with my hand or something? Like, yeah, he's been treating me right, like some sort of tie-in with that.
Or them just talking, like literally Stormbreaker, right here, and just
talking to each other.
And then he turns away slowly.
Mm-hmm. And then I needed Jane's homegirl to talk about WandaVision.
Yeah.
Like, you just glorified the fact
that I was waiting for her to drop something about it. Like, fam, like you, like
anything. It's just like, yo, she could have referenced any of it, and then like, and nothing happened. But also too, though, I will say for this, we don't know when this is happening. So we know WandaVision is after Endgame, but again, too, we don't know what exactly has happened and when this time is taking place yet. So
we do though. Because Valkyrie, her storyline, them showing us that Asgard is now a theme park is directly after Endgame, because it's like that was New Asgard in the first place. So remember, New Asgard got created in between Infinity War and Endgame. So right after Endgame is when Thor, and they showed us Thor has been they told us directly after Endgame because Thor was still fat Thor, so he lost the weight, and then he went into a whole tranquil situation. So this is around then. Whereas, so this has to be a little after WandaVision. So that's why she had to have said something.
Or is it before though? Before she went on that mission though? Because again too, we don't know how long Jane has had cancer.
That's true.
That's true.
So that's the thing too. So this could have been before she went on that mission or after. But like how Dion said, like there were a lot of pieces that y'all showed that could have given us things to get set up for the new phase, and y'all didn't really give it to us. So
even directly in the movie, one part that I thought that was a comedic thing that they missed is when they showed Jane in Valhalla. Why they didn't show what's the name's arm there? Like that was a callback to the joke. He was like, "Oh," when Thor said, he was like, "You're not there, but maybe
your arms involved.
Maybe your arms there."
They should have just showed like one arm just sitting there or something. Like I think that would have been a funny callback joke.
Knowing Taika Waititi, he probably would have had the arm walking.
Right, like there's something crazy, you know.
No blood.
I did enjoy how they portrayed the god's blood as being gold and how it was. I thought that was dope because I was like that was a good take to really understanding the royalness of a god and why they're different. But then it poses the question why Thor's blood wasn't gold, and that's what I was like. There was actually, what I think those are Olympians that bleed gold because remember there were several different gods there. So I think only the Olympians bleed gold, and the rest of them may be like in different forms and shapes.
This is what I wanted, and at that location, if they had tied in even like the Panther of Black Panther as a god up there, or the hippo from Moon Knight, that showing those little gods up in there, just tie in something. Lisa,
they were sitting next to her. They were sitting
next to God.
They were sitting next to her. It was a woman, the black woman. Like that's her. That's Bosk. I always say the name wrong, but that's her. But again, like how you just said, we did not see them interact with any gods. Like you have a whole pantheon of gods, different gods running around, and we don't see them interact with any of them. We just see Valkyrie come back with robes from the feeling gods. What the fuck the feeling gods look like? I want to see. But ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go ahead and wrap up this episode of Straight Out of a Comic Book. Just to circle it back, though, we do want to know in the comments below how y'all felt about Thor, Love, and Thunder. If you've seen it, please also be mindful for people who haven't seen it. Kind of keep it, vague in the comments and stuff like that. But before we go and get out of here, of course, I always like to have my guests come in, let them know what you got coming up, or, let them know where to follow you and support you. We're going to start with Deuces, as always, going to CT and then Dion.
Hey, I've been good lately.
We just keeping it consistent.
Right. You can follow me at young_Deuces or follow at Geek Set Podcast. We're on a journey doing a documentary, so follow us on that journey, man.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah. Whew, that was actually pretty dope. Ladies and gentlemen, patreon.com/CTisDope. Please support me. Thank you for having me. As always, I'm honored.
I wanted to see more of Thor and Gore. Of Thor 4. I don't want to keep rhyming. Dion Lack, all platforms. Toodaloo.
Yo, and that was an undersell. Dion Lack is by far the funniest person doing comedy today. There is nobody funnier than Dion Lack. I'm telling you. If you can watch everything, just type in Dion Lack.
Yes.
And everything he does. I talk to this nigga every other 2 days. Yeah. There's nobody funnier, bro. Period. Follow this man immediately.
I don't think there's a video you'll watch where you do not laugh.
He doesn't miss
every time.
He does not miss, bro. The commitment, the delivery, the character choices. Yeah. Nobody's touching Dion Lack.
The topic, it's the most random topic. Like it'd be
whatever happened to predictability? The milkman, the paperboy, evening TV. I'm like, no, he's not finna do this whole thing.
Yo, did you see the one he did yesterday, bro? He did one yesterday where he was making a smoothie. Let me tell you about the small shit. He's making a smoothie. He has fruits in a blender. The fruits aren't cut up, nigga. He got whole apples in that bitch, an orange unpeeled. This nigga is reading comments and he's like, hey, what's up? Hey, what's going on there, bro? You look like a fat ass. Okay, that's not good. Bro, it's brilliant.
Yeah, because I like, hey, y'all, anybody can try to probably color me not the sharpest knife in the drawer, but bro, you do it so well, you'll swear you were live. And that happened.
Yes.
It's just like, yo, when do you go live and these things is happening? And it's like, bro, he's making this up. I'm like,
making it up.
Oh, like, okay, bro, because I swear, like, even just to look in, like, you built like
I said, like
I'm like,
it's the commitment. It's the commitment to the whole thing. You know, you see that's always the draw for comedians. I look at like, how committed are you to the full bit? Like, what's the little things?
This nigga Dion is the and I'm loving seeing the growth. I know you see it, Dion, on your page. I see the growth and I smile because I'm like, the world needs to be watching Dion Lack. Flat out.
Bro. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yes, man. All three of y'all though, man. Yo, from CT's podcast with his
fuck
to be
that shit. This nigga Dion is the greatest thing since sliced bread.
Y'all all getting y'all flowers, bro. Y'all all getting them. Same thing with Deuce, man. Taking a blurred world by storm, going on documentaries and stuff, man. Y'all are three amazing folks, bro. And y'all continue to soar and just show, like, when it's time for that full spotlight to be on y'all, why it's gonna be sitting on y'all for quite some time. So, yo, bro, like, I just wanted to make y'all know that. So